Hey guys, what's up? Phoenix here, and I'm back again in Escape from Tarkov, and today we're going to be taking a look at the differences between the MP5 and the MPX. So there are two variants of each. We'll be discussing the differences between the variant of the MP5 and then the variant of the MPX, and then discussing the differences between both systems together. So starting off with, we have the silenced MP5 on the right and the unsilenced version on the left. So looking at them, they both fire in single burst full auto. They both fire 9x19, 800 rounds per minute, and an effective distance of 200 meters. That's a bit of a stretch, but I'll get into that in a second. What is worth noting though is the silenced version fires at a substantially lower muzzle velocity because it's a silenced variant, so 278 meters per second rather than the 516 that the unsilenced version fires at. Realistically, that's not going to be overly noticeable because you shouldn't be using this thing outside of 100 meters anyway. It says it's 200 meters, but honestly, even across factory is a stretch sometimes, so this is a real close quarters weapon. Anything outside of 50 to 100 meters and you're kind of losing the benefit of running with an MP5. Anyway, in terms of their stats, the silenced version has a little bit less ergonomics, and the silenced version also has substantially more recoil, although that's its base recoil. The recoil reduction that's caused by its attachments ends up being less than the unsilenced version. So, all in all, kind of makes sense, kind of all, relatively similar in terms of gameplay. You're going to get a little less recoil, but you're also going to get less muzzle velocity with the silenced variant. Now, in terms of attachments, however, that's when things get a little bit interesting. So the MP5s have a few attachments, but not actually that many. So you can buy this HK Universal Low Profile Scope Mount, so it's a scope mount essentially, and that can be attached to both variants of the MP5, as you can see there, and obviously that is how you end up with your scopes on these things. Without this, you can't have a scope on the MP5. So unless you want to be running iron sights, then you're going to need to there we go. Unless you want to run iron sights, you're going to need this scope mount, and it can be bought from Peacekeeper along with all the other attachments and the weapons themselves that we'll get into pricing later. So in terms of other attachments, you can't attach a foregrip to either of them. Neither of them have the capability to accept a foregrip. They are both stuck with this this handguard here. You can't change that out. You can't add anything on to chuck on a foregrip, unfortunately. However, with the silenced variant, you can chuck on that little thing there. So this, where are you? The tri-rail ring mount, which allows for the attachment of up to 3 flashlights that uses the Picatinny system. So basically, the X400 is kind of your best bet when attaching lights to it. So overall, you can attach scopes through the use of the scope mount, and you can also attach the tri-rail ring mount to the silenced version only. So that's the differences in things that you can kind of buy to attach to them. And moving on to the MPX, so the differences between the MPX is actually a lot less pronounced than it is with the MP5s. Pulling them up, they both fire, again, same rate of fire, so 150 rounds per minute, same types of fire, caliber, and effective distance of 500 meters. So they're pretty similar, and if you look at the ergonomics and the recoil, again, pretty similar. Even the muzzle velocity between the silenced and unsilenced version is not that much. It's actually a difference of 1 meter per second in favor of the suppressed or silenced variant of the MPX. So, in terms of using them, basically, get the silenced version if you can afford it. It's the exact same in every single way as the unsilenced version. You can attach a silencer to the standard MPX, however. If you're going to buy one, you may as well just be buying the silenced version anyway. Now, in terms of modifications to them, they are much more moddable than the MP5, so you can attach a sight to either one of them without issue. You can attach a foregrip to either one of them without issue, and the same goes for lights. So they basically are way more moddable, and that's because of this Picatinny rail system up top and the adapters. So you have two 2-inch rail adapters, and you have one 4-inch rail adapter down bottom, which allows for 2 sights and a foregrip to be attached on. So overall, the major differences between the two, though, is the fact that the silenced version has a basket stock and the other one has an MPX stock, although they are interchangeable, so not much of an issue there. Now, pretty similar. That one was actually pretty simple. There's no differences between the two whatsoever, really, aside from one silenced, one isn't. But, for what most people would be here to see, the differences between the MPX and the MP5. Now, this is where things get a little more interesting. So looking at the types of fire, The MPX will only fire in single and full auto, whereas the MP5 will fire in burst as well, and that's a 3-round burst. If you enjoy firing in burst fire, cool, the MPX works for you. Personally speaking, I've never used the burst fire mode on it, ever. They both fire the same caliber, however, the MPX fires at an extra 50 rounds per minute in comparison to the MP5, so a little bit better there. And its effective distance is also greatly improved in terms of the MP5. However, 500 meters with this thing is also a stretch, so if you are going to use this, don't take it out to, shoreline and expect to be shooting someone from across the map. You are going to be looking again closer to 200 meters, but still a vast improvement over the MP5. And that's basically the difference between the two. The MPX is a vast improvement over the MP5. They fire the same rounds, so there's no difference there. The damage is basically the same, but those extra 50 rounds that the MPX pumps out are noticeable. Plus, it's way easier to mod the MPX with recoil reduction than it is the MP5. So, why would you buy the MP5? Probably price is really the only reason that I can think of in terms of why you'd actually buy it. That, and you do have to be a higher level to purchase the MPX. But if you have access to both, like I do, the MPX is going to win out all the time. Now, actually going over and having a look at the price, you can kind of see what I was talking about. So the MPX can be bought for $699 from Peacekeeper unsilenced, $979 silenced, and that's about it. That's really the only way you can buy it, straight up purchasing. Whereas the MP5, you can buy the unsilenced variant for $587, or trade in 10 of the A2607 knives. So if you want to go looking for 10 knives, you can actually buy it, although it's probably easier to just use the 587 bucks. Now, the silenced variant of the MP5 can be purchased for 896, and I was wrong. You can actually trade for the MPX unsilenced variant using a SAS and 3 SSDs. In a year of play, I've never seen either of those, so that's effectively useless. But in terms of price, the MP5 does win out. It is cheaper and easier to obtain, especially with the trade. You can probably get 10 knives relatively easily. You never get the SAS or an SSD in this game. But overall, if you can afford it and if you can purchase it, because the MP5 can be purchased at a lower level, or not, the silenced variant can be purchased at a lower level, whereas the standard variant can be purchased at level 1. But they're all available relatively early on in the trader trees anyway. So overall, buy the MPX. It's better in essentially every single way. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed, hope you found something useful. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions, queries, doubtful points, or suggestions of your own, chuck them in the comments below. Anyway guys, like I said, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.